Welcome back to part 2 of the Investing with Vanguard series. Today I will be going through the 4 different types of accounts that Vanguard offer to its investors. If you missed part 1 of the series where I talk about the history of Vanguard and the fees and entry requirements, then I have linked it above now. You can also go to the playlists tab on my page and you'll find all parts of this series under the Investing with Vanguard playlist. Okay, so today I'm going to share my screen on the Vanguard platform so that you can see what I'm talking about when I go through these 4 different accounts. So when you log on to when you go onto the Vanguard investor website, if we go to what we offer, we will go to our accounts so we can see the 4 types of accounts. So first we have the personal pension account, which is also known as a SIPP, or a self-invested personal pension. So in this account, you have the full range of Vanguard funds that you can invest in, and the target retirement funds are specifically designed for a pension plan. So the great thing with SIPPs, which I knew nothing about until 2020, I had never even heard of a SIPP. But the great thing with them is that you can put in up to £40,000 per year into this account. And so this account is not only tax-free in terms of the capital gains that you acquire from your investments, you will also receive the tax back that you paid on your general income and that you have now invested into this pension. So say for instance, I invest £10,000 into my SIPP. Of course, that £10,000 would have been taxed. So I'm working for somebody, I would have been taxed on the front end. But if I move this money over to a SIPP, then the government will give me back the income tax that I paid. So if you are a basic rate taxpayer, you will receive 20% back. And if you are a higher rate tax earner, then you would receive 40% back or 45% back, depending on how much you earn. So this is a double whammy. It is a fantastic account. I don't have a SIPP yet, but I plan on getting one sometime this year because these taxable benefits are insane. So another thing to point out is that you may already have a personal pension with your employer, which is completely fine and it's great, especially if you're getting employer contributions, but you can also have a SIPP on top of that. So you can keep your employer pension, but you can also have this in addition. So as you can see here, you can only access this money when you're at least 55 years old. So that is the caveat to SIPPs as opposed to a stocks and shares ISA. As mentioned in my first video, the account fees are just 0.15%, and that is capped at £375 per year. And you can also see that the minimum deposit amount is the same as I mentioned in my first video. So you can either do a £500 lump sum or you can invest £100 per month. Now there's also the option to transfer your pensions. So if you have multiple pensions, for instance, from old employers and they're just all sparse and sitting about, you could then transfer this all into a Vanguard SIPP if you want to have an easy access point for all of your pensions. As I mentioned earlier, you can invest in all of the available funds that Vanguard offer via a SIPP. And they mention here the target retirement fund. This can be a really great plan for you if you kind of just want to invest your money and not really allocate it. And I say that because they sort out the allocations for you. So as you get closer to retirement, then your investment portfolio would be less risky versus when you're far away from retirement, you would be involved in more high risk investments. They also tell you here what the lifetime allowance is, which is just over £1 million. I calculated how many years you would need to deposit the full £40,000 in order to meet this lifetime allowance. It worked out to just over 25 years. So I don't think this lifetime allowance is a deal breaker. It's still a lot of money that you can invest over the long term. And the last but very important point for a Vanguard SIPP account is that there are no extra fees when you start withdrawing your money, which of course by the time you access your money, you do not want to be paying extra fees to your investment broker. You want to keep as much money as possible. Head over to the stocks and shares ISA. So this is what I have with Vanguard. I currently have a stocks and shares ISA. But for this account, you have the same access to the full range of funds as you do for the SIPP, including life strategy funds, as mentioned here. If you already have a stocks and shares ISA and you are paying higher fees, which I know there are other investment brokers where the fees are higher, you can transfer this into a Vanguard fund so that you can benefit from the lower fees of Vanguard. For this account, and with any stocks and shares ISA in the UK, you have a £20,000 yearly allowance. Every year you can put up to £20,000 into a stocks and shares ISA account, and any capital gains you make on that is absolutely tax-free. However, unlike the SIPP, you do not get money back from the government for the tax you've already paid on it. That's not an advantage of the stocks and shares ISA, but the plus side of a stocks and shares ISA is that you can access this money whenever you want. So there's no time limit of having to be 55 or any age. You can access it as you please. And a really key point to make clear is that you can only invest in one stocks and shares ISA per year. So you can have multiple stocks and shares ISA accounts if you want. You could have a Vanguard one, you could have one with Fidelity or Hargreaves and Lansdowne. The option is yours, but you can only pay into one per year. That's it for this one. The fees are the same as before, and the minimum requirements is also the same as before. Let's move on to the junior ISA, which I, by the way, think is amazing. The junior ISA is for UK residents under the age of 18 years old. So a parent or someone who has parental guidance over a child can open a junior ISA for a child. And when that child turns 18 years old, then this account gets transferred fully over to them so that they are able to do with the money what they please. Now again, like the other two accounts, you have the full range of funds that you can invest in. You could even invest in a target retirement fund for your child. It's completely up to you, but you have the option to choose which investment funds you are interested in. You can invest up to £9,000 per tax year for a junior ISA, which is obviously less than the stocks and shares ISA, but it's still a good amount of money, especially if you're starting this type of account from a very young age. And what I really love about this now is that you can gift money. So say I wanted to gift a friend's child or a niece and nephew, I could put that money into their account. I think it's really fantastic because nowadays kids have a lot of toys and clothes and they have a lot of things that they need, and it's really hard to buy gifts sometimes. But investing into their future is kind of a gift that keeps on giving. So I think this is a really awesome option that you have to gift money into a junior ISA. Again, the fees are the same, the investment minimum deposits are the same, so there's no differences there. And of course, this junior ISA also acts as a wrapper around the money, so any capital gains that are made from these investments are completely tax-free. And lastly, we have the general account. So a general account is primarily for people who have maxed out all of their other accounts, so all of the other ISAs. So they may have a stocks and shares ISA, they may have a SIPP, and they've maxed out their yearly allowance and they still have additional money that they want to invest. Keep in mind, in order to max out all of these accounts, you would have had to pay in £60,000 in one tax year. So it is a lot of money. So this general investment account is not necessarily needed for the vast majority of people, but nevertheless, it is an option for people who do need it. In a general account, you do pay taxes on any capital gains that you make. So there's no wrapper around this account because it is just a general account. But you can currently make up to £2,000 per year in dividend payments or dividend income before you need to pay taxes. You can make up to £12,000 per year on capital gains, such as interest, on your investments before you need to pay taxes. So with my Trading 212 account, it is a general investment account, but as you have probably seen in my videos, I have a really nominal amount in these accounts. So it's not something that I need to worry about because it's not until I make £12,000 in capital gains or £2,000 in dividend income that I would start needing to pay taxes. And with the general account, you have the same range of funds that you can invest in. So everything that the other accounts offer you in terms of the range of funds and the fees and the minimum deposits are the same for this account as well. And so those are the 4 types of accounts that you can open with Vanguard. So of course you can open one of these accounts that you think work for you, but you could also open all 4 if you chose to. So you have the option to choose the accounts that work for you, and hopefully now you know a bit more about each account so you could make a educated decision on which account suits you best. You can also look on the website for any more information about each account. But I would say the key thing is to make sure that you are making and taking full advantage of the taxable benefits that you can get with these accounts. So before jumping to a general investment account, definitely consider a stocks and shares account first, or even a SIPP. And so that's it for part 2 of the Investing with Vanguard series. I will see you real soon in part 3 of the series.